Now in this section, on day 2, we're going to do tie-dyeing. So what you want to do is take out your TACoS shirt from your bag. It should be white with some TACoS printing on it. This one is all white, just as an example. Spread it out on a surface and make sure that you are wearing very old clothes to do this. Really old clothes, because just be sure that whatever clothes you wear, you're okay with getting dye on them. And you probably want to do this outside because it's dye, so it does make a permanent mess if you're not careful where you get it. The 2 gloves that you have in your bag, you'll be wearing as soon as we get started with the dye. And then you'll also need your packet of dye in a powder form and this little container, and it should be labeled with what color you're eventually going to have. So the other thing that's in your bag are 6 rubber bands. You can tie-dye this in a number of different ways. How I'm going to do it is just kind of the scrunch method, which is taking the bottom of the shirt, wrinkling it up, and then putting rubber bands around it, kind of at random or whatever pattern you want to do. You can look up, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. You can try to make sunbursts, you can try to make dots, and we have a variety of different rubber bands. So you can use all of them, some of them, none of them. It's up to you. Well, you should use at least a couple because otherwise it won't really look like tie-dye. Okay, and then the next step is we're going to get the dye ready. Hi. Okay, now that you've got your t-shirt all full of rubber bands and tied up, we're going to make the dye. Don't get started with this dye until you're ready to tie-dye the shirt, because this dye, they said on the package, it's only good for a few hours after you mix it up. Otherwise it gets lighter and lighter and it won't turn the color that you want. So get out your dye packet and your bottle and then your gloves, and then save this bag, the bag that your stuff came in, because that's what we're going to put the t-shirt in once we've dyed it. So I'll put some rocks on that to tie that down in the wind here. Then I'm going to put the gloves on, because whenever you work with the dye, you should probably have gloves on. All right. Then break open the dye. This is why this is great to do outside, because no worries if some spill. It doesn't activate unless water's involved, so if you spill some, if you wipe it up, try to wipe it up with a dry towel. Okay, then carefully put all the dye into the container that you got. And then you just discard the empty container and the rest of it if you can't quite get every single bit out. Then what we do is you fill it to where the very top, basically, where the outside of the container starts to come into the cap. And I have a pitcher of water here. It's a good idea. You don't need very much, like a glass worth will do. And then, just carefully fill that up. Okay, to about that level. Then put the cap on tightly. Make sure that very top is on and shake it up. The dye will become activated now that it's been in contact with water. So chemical reactions are going on and the dye is dissolving. The solid is dissolving into the liquid of the water. Okay, now we're going to set that aside, and the one rubber band we didn't use. Get the bag ready, and then I'll put the bag over here, and you can see how the dye already started to work because it interacted with the water. That's why doing this outside is a great idea. Now, take the cap off, and you simply, not the whole cap, just the top, but it was wanting to come off there. Okay. Just maybe a tiny bit hard with gloves, but there, got it off. And then just start squirting away in whatever pattern you want. Make sure it has a chance to soak into these folds, or else you'll just have it on the outside. And then turn it over, get some more going over here. Using a drop cloth, like I said, is great because you can just roll this up and throw it in the trash when you're done. Even using like old grocery bags is good because you don't need a lot of space here. And I'm just gonna squirt it till the bottle is out. If you don't want to have that much color, you can always find something else that you want to tie-dye as well and use up the rest of your bottle that way, but I'm just gonna do this here. Okay, I'm gonna try to get in there for the very last bit. Okay, we have used up the bottle. Now, wearing those gloves, open up the bag, put it in the bag, seal it, and you can either let it sit out in the sun or just set it somewhere. Make sure you wipe off the outside if you do put it back into the house, and let it sit for, the instructions say, at least 24 hours. So tomorrow at this time you can open it up, put your gloves on again, keep your gloves handy, and then see the results. Okay, well, we have left this tie-dye sit in the bag for at least 24 hours. We did it yesterday morning and now it's yesterday evening. So once you leave it sit at least 24 hours, you take it out of the bag, and then again outside wearing old clothes, rinse it. We have rinsed it basically on the lawn with a garden hose, and you'll see some dye coming off of it. Keep rinsing until there is no further color that comes out of the dye. This is green dye and it's green grass, so it's going to be a little bit hard to notice when it's finally done, but it doesn't take a lot of rinsing. We've noticed less than 5 minutes. And then just keep doing that until when you wring it out, you notice that it's running clear. And remember to wear your gloves and really old clothes while you do this. Okay, we rinsed it about a good 5 or 6 times, and then when we finally stopped when the water ran clear. And then, continuing to wear your gloves, pull off the rubber bands, and you will see the big reveal of what your t-shirt turned out to look like. We're almost there. Okay, so there was a big empty spot in the center. So like I said, remember to use the entire container of tie-dye and get into the folds and everything. But yeah, your t-shirt will probably turn out to be mostly white. Now, when you go to wash this, wash it all by itself for the first several washes. And there's your t-shirt.